News Extra is next, today brought to you by First State Bank in Scottsbluff, New York. With our program, here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. We have Scottsbluff Mayor Randy Meininger here today to talk about what's going on in 2016. And we really appreciate him coming in and taking his time to be here. And a Happy New Year, first of all.
Well, Happy New Year, Kevin. Thanks.
You bet. All right, let's talk about economic development because people have been talking about that here for the last 2 months, and Thomas P. Miller and how they fit in with Twin Cities development. Kind of explain what the idea of Thomas P. Miller is with you guys, and why we are giving them as much money as we are for their economic development group when we also have TCD here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Both of those are economic development groups that have a little different focus. With the forming of the West Nebraska Economic Development Group, of course, which is regional. And I go back and commend the council for when we were working on the economic development plan. One of the things was let's not just look at the city of Scottsbluff. We need to take this regional, because what happens in Sydney affects Scottsbluff. What happens in Bridgeport affects Scottsbluff. What happens in Lyman, Nebraska affects Scottsbluff, and vice versa. And we also realize that all of those communities come into Scottsbluff to purchase and to spend money here, of which puts money into the LB 840 account. So we took a regional approach. With that, we needed to bring in a national firm that had some horsepower to be able to work through our economic development plan. That's been done. And now, what they're doing is TPMA now. Again, looking at that regional approach, now they're working with some of our partnership communities to help them work on some different projects and get some things going. TCD will be working on some projects here in the Scottsbluff Gearing area and get some of those go. Sean gets up and going with TCD and gets meeting with some of the partnership communities. Some of that will shift. TPMA, really their focus is to be able to learn about the region, probably a 50,000-foot overview, and then start empowering the local entities, whether it's chambers, PAD, other economic development groups, to empower them to help their local communities.
All right. So how long do we pay Thomas P. Miller to do some of this facilitation that I guess that's what we're paying him to do, right?
You probably it's a better question for the WNED board, but you're probably looking for another year to work through that, and then by the time of the year, you should have a pretty good handle. Again, as long as you're following the ED plan, you get off track on that, you're going to have some issues. I'll be honest with you. But as long as you stay focused on that, on the plan, and follow that, you're probably looking at about a year, and then you should be able to have those local entities empowered to take it and run.
And meanwhile, TCD will have their own separate contract where you're looking at more accountability from them on exactly what they're doing, right?
Sure. And I don't want to focus that on TCD. If you look at all of the contracts now that are coming up before the council, every one of them we're trying to look at to make sure that the amount of money that's going in, it matches the deliverables and that there's accountability. The taxpayers, every time they look at a tax bill or their property taxes, where is this money going to? And it's kind of nice to be able to say it's going for here, here, and here. And based on these deliverables, it's creating X amount of jobs or X amount of projects. So we're just trying to get that accountability, not just with them, but agencies across the board.
All right. We'll talk about other subjects, including a possible additional sales tax on the ballot right after this.
You work night and day to get the crop in. You worry about the weather. You worry about prices. You have repairs to deal with at the worst possible times. It's a lot of work and a lot of worry. But when all is said and done, you wouldn't trade places with anyone. Making things grow is in your blood. It's in ours too. We're a community ag bank. First State Bank. Member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
Back on News Extra, we have Scottsbluff Mayor Randy Meininger here with us to talk about issues involving Scottsbluff over the next year. One of them is this additional half-cent sales tax that the city is considering after legislation last year passed by lawmakers that allows you guys to do that. So you're thinking about, we really need some help with our infrastructure, right?
Yeah, you're right, Kevin. And help with the infrastructure. Again, I got to go back to the economic development plan. And as we're looking at those projects, the top 3 that are coming out, and you've got different companies expanding, not necessarily new companies coming in, but existing companies that are expanding or growing, which is so important to our community to keep our locals, keep that momentum going. But when they're expanding or moving to different areas without a plan or without money to be able to provide infrastructure, streets, road, curb, gutter, water, sewer, storm sewer, those basic essentials, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. So, you come over here, you build a Taj Mahal, but I have no way to get you to it. Well, that doesn't make sense. So what we're doing is looking at what tools, and we kind of addressed this in the State of the Valley, but what tools do we have in the toolbox to be able to accomplish some of these? LB 357, it's not a choice of vote of the council, it's a vote of the people. And with the vote of the people, it would be a half-cent sales tax on the taxable things that you would buy. So food would not be one of those. And then with that, then we would identify specific projects. It has to be specific. It has to be specific for roads. Avenue B needs some major work to it. 42nd Street needs some major work to it, both for safety and cosmetics and aesthetics to help people as they're coming into our community see it as the place to be, the place to shop, the place to live. So this just gives us a tool to do that. Again, we need to get drilled down more specific to make sure that we're answering all of the questions of the public, but it's a vote of the public.
Yeah. You guys will make a decision fairly soon on whether to put that on the ballot, right? Probably in the next couple of meetings sometime.
Yeah. We have to have a vote to go to make sure that it gets on the ballot because it's all timed out of when it has to hit and everything. So it'd be we have to do that so it'd hit the November ballot.
All right. Real quick, a couple of things. If you could talk about this business park idea that I know you and the Mayor Kaufman have talked about. And also, you guys now working real closely to get that landfill project taken care of, right?
Yeah. Both those, Kevin, deal with partnerships. And again, my format that I've always stood on and continue is that we have to work in partnerships, whether it's economic development or any of these projects, because divided we don't stand, and individually we don't do well. So we're looking at, again, in the economic development plan, one of the top things is an industrial or business park, and be able to design that so that existing companies within our area or new companies coming in have a place or a footprint. We get them in the right place so that we're not affecting, other homes. We want to make sure this is all planned out. And you're going to see in the next probably 90 days or so, you're going to see some major things happening because our comp plan is going to be finalized, tying that in with the economic development plan. Landfill is one of those projects. Scottsbluff approved some of the joint monies again to be used for a grinder to reduce the impact by about 25%. That's a good thing. If we recycle, which Scottsbluff has taken the initiative to make a flat rate, we own the dumpsters, get a dumpster, we want you to recycle, that reduces the cost to the consumer. But yeah, that's gonna the process of looking for that new landfill site it's on the horizon. It's there.
Okay. Same thing Tony pretty much said yesterday. Some things are going to happen in that direction in the next year. All right. Very good. We've run out of time. I appreciate you coming in. Thanks very much.
You betcha. And it's always good to know that Tony is talking about the same things that I'm talking. That means that we're on the right track.
Well, you guys seem to be communicating very well. That's what it looks like to me.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
On the air, online, and streaming live on your mobile device. 960 KNEB, Scottsbluff, Gearing, your trusted voice for news.